Hi, I'm Linz. Welcome to Becoming Everwell, a channel where we talk about the ongoing journey of becoming. In today's life learning episode for Midlife You, we are talking about when you unmask the hidden story.
I make sense of life by writing about real everyday stuff that makes us who we are. Some of these snapshots are fun, some are more serious. Maybe they'll open up something in you too. Let's grow.
Baba, my late grandma, had a hidden spare bedroom in her home where my sister and I spent loads of time. It was our go-to hide-and-go-seek spot, but also the room's built-in dresser drawers housed my grandma's collection of photographs. Some photos lived in albums decorated with her familiar script, identifying years, people, and locations, while some photos existed loosely in the drawers, unattached in place and time. On visits to Baba, we'd immerse ourselves into the mix of images that spanned decades, all puzzle pieces of a family story that perpetually intrigued us. When we'd uncover a mysterious image, we'd bring our mom in to explain the circumstances, and she'd pull Baba in when she wasn't sure. We'd get lost in that small room, sitting cross-legged on the vacuumed lines of the wall-to-wall carpet, surrounded by many mountains of ancient snapshots of our lineage. Every so often, an unsuspecting image would take my mom into a wistful, far-off place. She'd linger on the picture after we kids had moved on to something else, and I'd sense that the still-framed moment tapped alive some obscure but vivid corner of her past. I'm older now than my mom was then, so I can imagine that because we were young, she probably chose to keep pieces of the full stories to herself. As kids, we couldn't possibly grasp the bigger story that lives in a mom's mind. These days, most of us store what feels like 1 billion photos in our phones. Every year or so, I make a point to order about 100 random photos that I've taken, just so my kids can hold concrete pieces of our history in their hands too. One photo in my home stash recently whisked me away. I'm with my nearly 3-year-old daughter in late summer in our backyard right here. Our faces are colorful messes of face paint. I'd created her face art, she'd created mine. On its own, the photograph suggests a sense of childhood whimsy, as if I were that mom who embraced and enjoyed the chaos, glitter, and splatter of toddlerhood. But from the lens of my memory, that's not the photo story. You see, leading up to that snapshot, my daughter had spent the better part of the previous 15 months terrified of face paint. She'd even written and performed a mic drop song about it. Her fear began at her buddy's second birthday party, where there'd been a professional face painter, a bouncy house, and lots of families. Unbeknownst to my daughter, a big boy of 5 whole years had gotten his full face painted to resemble a wild animal. Together in the bouncy house, my little one collided with the older boy, which knocked her down flat. Stunned by the sudden impact with what felt to her like a giant, as she got up and beheld the boy's painted face, she was overcome with horror. She bumbled and bounced her crying self out of that bouncy house, proclaiming, "I do not like Lion Boy," as she gripped onto me. Typically a mellow kid, truly, my mom friends nicknamed her the urban legend baby because she was so easygoing. She was beside herself to such an extent that we packed up and left the party early. And despite all my efforts to soothe her and help rationalize her way past her Lion Boy trauma, she could not, would not shake it. The fear only magnified with time. Not a big deal, one might shrug. Well, when immersed in toddler life and frequenting birthday parties, fairs, and festivals most weekends, face paint is everywhere. I assure you, I'd never before noticed the prominence of face paint until my kid freaked out with every sighting. More than a year into her fear, and in an act of desperation, I thought to host a few close friends and their toddlers for a mom-kid face painting party. We'd become a tightly knit playgroup where the moms loved each other and our respective babes like family. I wondered if we could all help my child de-escalate this crippling phobia by boldly facing the fear together. When I asked my friends if they played along, they were all in and showed up ready to get messy. And somehow, it worked. As she observed all these pals and moms she trusts happily covered in face paint, my daughter cautiously gained the courage to become a face painter herself. I watched the tension in her face transform into a smile as she bravely decorated my face, and eventually allowed me to paint her face too. We giggled lots, and just like that, her fear bubble burst. She couldn't articulate it then, but I believe that our face painting party enabled her to compute that the unfortunate accident and the face paint were not inherently linked. She gave herself permission to believe that face paint no longer had to be scary. Face paint no longer got to have power over her emotions. Another mom grabbed my camera to capture the afterglow of my child overcoming her major fear. And when I behold that photo now, more than a decade later, I see a young person who has discovered her inner strength. This childish face paint fear is unrelatable, one could say, but it's all relative. What was a fear of face paint at age 3 could be a fear of failure when she's older, or a fear of public speaking, or a fear of taking risks, or a fear of intimacy, or a fear of change, or a fear of abandonment. And fear of anything has the power to take us down, hold us back, and control us. And I'm grateful to have this photograph so that when my child may need to be reminded of her inner strength at some hard time down life's road, I'll have this visual piece to her inner puzzle to remind her of who she's always been, a person who's capable of confronting her fears so that she may squelch the uncomfortable thing before it takes her hostage. I hope this anecdote invites you to take a scroll through your phone and find some images that whisk you off to dormant corners of your memory. And maybe you'll even order some prints that will find their way into a drawer of your home, so that one day, when rediscovered, the hidden stories that live behind the captured moments will be brought back to life to reveal a fuller picture of a becoming self. Let's keep growing. Thanks for being here. I'm Lindsay Hurdy. You can learn all about me on my Substack, lindsayhurdy.substack.com, and you can read all of the essays that I write each week. Subscribe there. Find me there. I would love to connect with you. Also, my website, lindsayhurdy.com, is a great place to learn of all of my offerings. But today, coming from the summer vibe of my backyard, I wish you a great day. I hope you're well. Until next time.
Be sure to like and subscribe and click that bell to get alerts for new posts. I'd be ever grateful.